Hey folks, this is My Kitten Reads. I'm Eleanor and this is my Dewey's 24-hour readathon vlog for October 2022. So we are about, my watch is not on. We are about 5 to 10 minutes away from the start. It's nearly 11 o'clock here in the evening on the Saturday. I probably won't stay up particularly late beyond this, maybe an hour. Because I do have to get up early in the morning because Formula One is in Texas this weekend, which means free practice 3 is at 6 a.m. So I will be setting my alarm for 6 a.m. I may read some during free practice. It depends on how interesting free practice has been. But yes, so there will also be qualifying tomorrow morning as well. But I will at least be awake at 6. So I might what I might do for tomorrow morning is to keep Cranky Ladies of History with me. So if it does get a bit boring during practice, I can read a short story. So that was one of the things on my TBR. What I will probably read tonight though before going to bed, I'm quite tired, so maybe half an hour of reading. I will continue on with Magic's Price by Mercedes Lackey. This is the third book in the Last Herald Maid trilogy that I am rereading because I don't remember a single thing about it. So I know I've read it before, but yes, it's something comfortable. It's not too stressful. The book's also not too long, so I'm really hopeful I will finish this book for this readathon. It's only like 340 something pages, and it's like they're small pages, like it's a small book. So that's my plans for the moment. Read a little bit of Mercedes Lackey before going to bed, and then get up early to watch the Formula One and read some short stories and probably continue on with Mercedes Lackey. So that's the plan. We will be starting very, very shortly. Good morning, readathoners. It's nearly 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. I've been awake for 2 hours already. Well, kind of awake. Formula One free practice 3 finished an hour ago, ish. So I watched that. I also managed to read another 32 pages of Magic's Price by Mercedes Lackey, which is going along quite well. Although it's still like, I'm 123 pages in and it's still kind of in the build-up phase, which is a bit slow. So hopefully things will kick off soon. Yeah, and so I'm up, I am dressed, I've read a bit, I've watched some Formula One practice. Formula One qualifying is in an hour, but I'm going to continue reading Magic's Price while I have probably some breakfast. Yeah, I think my first aim for the day is to finish this since I've already picked it up, and it's not too difficult of a read. So that would be my aim for the first part of the day. Formula One qualifying and finishing Magic's Price. Right, so it is 20 past 10 in the morning. In the hour before qualifying started at 9, I read like 90 something pages, and I've read more pages since then because I was reading a bit during quali. You know, depending, because there were breaks in between the qualifying sessions. It's a thing. So I now have like 80 something pages, 83 pages I think left of Magic's Price, and yes, things have kicked into gear. So like, yeah, people are getting murdered. It's a thing. Yeah, so things are reaching the climax. So yeah, I'm doing quite well so far this morning. I am nearly finished. So the plan is finish Magic's Price. Then I don't know. Maybe some short stories, maybe a comic. I still haven't really decided what novel I want to pick up next. So let's just focus on Magic's Price. Well, it's almost noon and I have finished Magic's Price. Woo! Apparently I'd forgotten this so thoroughly. I'd forgotten that there should be a content warning on it for one particular scene. There's a serial rape scene, unfortunately. It's not hugely descriptive in terms of the details, but it was quite a shock. And it is on the page, like it is happening, and it's not nice. So yes, I had completely forgotten that was there, as well as the rest of the plot. But now I have finished it. Yay. It was still a good read. It's very of its time. Like, it was published in 1990, so the previous books were published in the 80s. It's that kind of 80s fantasy. But it's also quite progressive for 80s fantasy in that, like, the main protagonist is queer. So that didn't happen a lot in fantasy in the 80s, I don't think. Not that I know of it much anyway. But yes, so I finished that. Yay! Almost done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to grab probably a couple of cupcakes and maybe some vanilla Coke for a snack. Like a pre-lunch snack. I'm not quite ready for lunch yet. And I think I need to palate cleanse a little bit. So I think I'm going to maybe read a short story or two out of Cranky Ladies of History. And I might settle down with Asterix while I'm thinking about which novel I want to read next. So I'm kind of wavering, I think, in between Shadow of the Fox and Sorcerer to the Crown. So, yeah, maybe one of those. But first, some short stuff to just cleanse my palate a little bit. So it's 2:20 in the afternoon. I've been doing some more reading since I last updated. I have read 4 short stories from Cranky Ladies of History. I marked a couple of them as ones that I really like. So one was by, Due Care and Attention by Sylvia Kelso, which is a story about one of Brisbane's early pioneering female doctors and a fight to prevent a bill that would make driving fast to get to emergency situations in these brand new dang automobiles hugely punishable by, like, imprisonment. So that was fun. So yeah, and then the other one that I marked was The Dragon, the Terror and the Sea by Stephanie Lai, which is about Qing Shi, who was the very famous Chinese female pirate, who I believe there was a Doctor Who episode about recently. So I've read 4 of those stories. I have also read the first comic in this Asterix Omnibus, which was Asterix and the Actress. So that was fun. There were a couple of, as usual, there were a couple of names which were plays on words, which made me laugh. So I think for the moment I'm going to continue on with these 2 books. Particularly Cranky Ladies of History. This reread has been sitting on my shelf as a reread for 3 years, and I've only picked it up like 2 or 3 times. So I would like to get it off my currently reading pile. And I'm getting close to halfway through. So I would like to continue reading this and continue reading Asterix. I was supposed to go for a run at some point this afternoon. I'm not sure if that's going to happen because I'm having some really odd pains in my ankle. Not like, usually if I've twisted it or something, I get pain in the outside of my ankle, but I'm getting pain in the inside of my ankle, and it's a bit weird. So I'm not sure if I'm really willing to run on it. And the weather is also awful. Even though I run at the gym, weather's still kind of awful, and I don't really want to go outside at all. So we'll see what happens. If I feel better later, I might go for a run, but I might delay it to tomorrow as well to see if my ankle feels any better. But yes, for the moment, oh, and I had lunch. So for the moment, I'm going to continue on reading these. And I've been listening to listening to The Cause, I downloaded a bunch of them more like I loved them as a kid, and I still like that first album, Forgiven Not Forgotten, is so good. So good. It's the reason why I love Irish music so much. But on a whim recently, I downloaded a bunch of their later albums that I hadn't heard. So I've been sitting there, listening to it, having The Cause quietly playing while I read, which is nice. So that's my plans for the next little bit. These two books, The Cause, maybe I'm another cupcake. Well, it's 7:10 and I have finished Cranky Ladies of History. Woo! So I tabbed some more stories, unsurprisingly, more Lady Pirate stories, but some other ones as well. So I have finished my reread, Cranky Ladies of History. Finally, it's been on my currently reading pile for at least 3 years. I can't believe it's like 7 years since this came out. It came out in like 2015. Like, wow. But yes, thoroughly enjoyed all the short stories, so that's great. I got through another part of the Asterix Omnibus. The middle one was actually like a collection of short stories from various magazine publications and stuff, so that was quite interesting. I've still got one more to go in that, so like one more comic for that, so I'll get to that at some point. But it's time to pick something else, and I'm not really feeling in the mood for YA right now, which most of my TBR is. So I think I'm going to have a go at Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. This has been on my TBR pile for ages. It's magic in England, in Regency London, but like diverse. Like Regency London is my jam. Like, you know how much, and you know how much I love like fantastical Regency as well. Like what I've read of the Glamorous Histories and Tansy's Teacup Magic series, which is not technically Regency London, but is Regency-esque. So I can't believe I've never actually picked this up yet. So time to do it now. The paperback version is like 371 pages long, so it's not too long. That's the problem sometimes I think with some of these Outcrate books. They're like 400, 500 pages long, and they're intimidating. I am kind of keen to have a go at Shadow of the Fox, but I think today I prefer to go with Sorcerer to the Crown. I do still have 2 more weeks of leave, so amongst all the studying that I need to do, maybe I'll get a chance at that. But I think I'm more likely to be able to get through this today, so I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to chuck some leftover pizza in the oven to reheat and have for dinner. And I am going to crack open the bottle of sparkling apple juice that I bought. So yeah, have some dinner, read some Sorcerer to the Crown, and see how I go with it. It better be good given how long I've been waiting to read it. Although, like, I still can't believe I've never picked this up. Like, it's so up my alley. Well, I mean, I have also had experiences where Regency magic I haven't really enjoyed. So, fingers crossed this is good. So, it's 9:15, which means there's an hour and 3/4 left to go of the readathon. I have finished the Asterix Omnibus number 11. Didn't love the last story, to be honest. It involved an alien visiting the village. 2 aliens visiting the village. It was weird. Like, that's not what I want from my Asterix. Like, I mean, I know I'm a sci-fi nerd, but I didn't want aliens in my Asterix. So, yeah, that was a bit of a downer, but it's done. It's finished. And I've been reading Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. I am 5 chapters in, 66 pages, so it's a good start. I'm going to continue reading this. I'm enjoying it so far. I've been listening to all day, pretty much, to The Cause. I actually grew up loving The Cause. Forgiven Not Forgotten was a really foundational album for me, and has accidentally it influenced my music taste a lot more than I realized at the time. It's only as an adult I've realized how much listening to The Cause as a young kid influenced my music taste. But I was only really familiar with like the first album and the singles from when I was a teenager. So I recently downloaded like all the other albums. And so I've been listening through them today. Just quiet. I find Irish music down on a low volume is really nice, like reading music. So that's what I've been reading today. I've had dinner as well. So essentially I've got another hour and a half, hour and 3/4 to get through as much of Sorcerer to the Crown as possible. I'm flagging a little bit, to be honest, so I might intersperse it with a bit of fan fiction just to clear my brain a bit. I've been rereading some Jane Austen stuff, which actually melds the different Jane Austen books together through family connections. It's a thing. So I might read some of that as well, just to help my brain relax a little bit, because I'm getting to the overload point, where I've consumed so much stuff today that I'm not particularly familiar with, even though some of it's rereads. Like Magic's Price was a reread, but I didn't remember anything about it. And Cranky Ladies of History is a reread, but again, I haven't read it since it came out in 2015. So whilst the stories were familiar, it was still like, it wasn't something I knew really well. So it still was like stimulating my brain quite a bit. So yeah, I may be throwing in some fan fiction just to like cleanse the palate, you know, between chapters and stuff. But I am enjoying Sorcerer to the Crown so far. So that's good. Well, this is another Dewey's Readathon done and dusted. Oh, I've been doing these for years now, haven't I? Yeah, I'm reasonably pleased with what I read. I tailed off a bit towards the end because my brain was just tired. I haven't gotten a lot of sleep the last few nights because I've been getting up early, earlier than usual, for various reasons. And so I'm quite tired. And I just, yeah, my brain had enough. So I ended up for the last half hour or so switching to some old favourite Jane Austen fan fiction, which I'd already been kind of reading a chapter in here and there as a break. So that was fine, but I'm still pretty pleased with what I read. So just to recap, I finished reading Magic's Price by Mercedes Lackey, which is the third in the last Herald Mage books. I was only about 30 pages into it, so it was most of the book. I read quite a lot of short stories. Hang on, if I just double check where I was up to when I started and count the short stories. I think I read 15 short stories. So that's quite a lot. That's, again, the most of the anthology. It's quite a chunk of the anthology. So yeah, it was really good to read those stories again. They were vaguely familiar because I have read this before, but it was really nice to read such really good quality stories again, because this is a very, very good quality anthology. I also read the entirety of the Asterix Omnibus, which is essentially 3 separate comics, although the middle one was actually a collection of shorter, like couple page each stories. So yeah, that was decent. I do love Asterix, but the third one, like I said, was a bit not really me. And then I did also get through 9 chapters of Zen Cho's Sorcerer to the Crown. And then when grabbing a snack after reading those 9 chapters, had a slight burst of inspiration, and I think I've guessed the plot. I never guess the plot, but I think I might have. I could be wrong, so it'll be interesting to see if I'm right when I continue reading it, because I am going to continue reading it. I am really enjoying it. So 9 chapters of that, most of Magic's Price, 15 short stories, essentially 3 comics, so 1 volume. Yeah, it's and some fan fiction here and there. It's a pretty decent amount of reading, really. I'm pretty happy with it, and now I'm really, really tired and I want to go to bed. So yeah, if you've read any of those books and want to talk about them, but no spoiling Sorcerer's the Crown for me, happy to talk about them in the comments. Like, subscribe, and I will see you all again really soon. Bye.